Well, hi there, I'm Dave from Dave Smith YouTube channel, and I'm pretty excited about today's lesson, and I'm going to tell you about 5 speaking mistakes you should avoid when you learn English. And also, I suggest you to talk about some confusing words that plenty of my English students, who are actually non-native speakers, of course, they actually tend to mix up oftentimes. And first things first, let's talk about and break down the mistake number 1. Mistake number 1, boring or bored. Problem. These both words are adjectives that describe being uninteresting or uninspired. The main difference is that boring describes the object or a person that makes us feel bored. I have to explain that boring is usually what someone or something is. For example, the lecture is boring, and bored is how we feel about boring things. An example, I was bored during the lecture. My example is here. This documentary about sand is boring. I'm so bored. Can we please watch something else? Or it's going to be so correct. Can we please watch anything else? It's a question. An example number 2. I was so bored on a date. She might be a really nice person, but listen to someone talk about sport is just so boring. It can be so from time to time. So, mistake number 1, number 2. The problem. When we confuse the similar words, well or good. These two words sound similar and they are sometimes used interchangeably as though they mean the same thing, but this is not true. Actually, it's not true. They're actually different parts of speech, so they mean very, very different things. This can help you determine when to use them. My explanation. Good is used as an adjective, so it needs to describe a noun. It's a good cake. Well, which is an adverb, and it needs to describe a verb. It usually describes a verb. He sings well, or she sings well. My examples are here. I don't feel well. I think I'm starting to get sick. It's a good thing. I can work from home. She did well on her final exam. She's gonna get good grades this semester. There is an exception. There is an exception of this rule. I gotta explain this exception for you all, my students. It's a question. How are you doing? I'm doing well, and you? Technically, this is correct, but it sounds a little bit too formal. You should avoid this in some cases. How are you doing? Good, and you? Technically, this is incorrect, but it's much more common. Say this if you want to sound like an American. So let's move to the mistake number 3. Job or work. Problem. Work can be both a verb and a noun, whereas job is only a noun. Job is only a noun. It's never a verb. When you're describing what you do for a living, that's your job. It's your job when you do something for a living. What do you do for a living? It's my job. When you're describing where you go to do that job or the specific activities you do as part of that job, that's your work. My example. Part of my duties at my job include working with different groups and organizations to end world hunger. And the second one. I work with a lot of interesting people at my new job. There can be fixed phrase at work. You should remember this phrase and locations at work. I was so busy at work today. Where were you this afternoon? I was at work. So be careful. I love my job, or I love my work. This usage of work feels like there is a deeper or any kind of emotional significance to what you are doing, like tutoring children who have a difficult time reading. Let's move on to mistake number 4. It's about prepositions in or at. It's an eternal topic, isn't it? Problem. These are common words that you'll hear when referring to time. It might seem tricky at first, but there is a simple rule for remembering which one to use and when, for the time being. My explanation. We use at when you're referring to specific periods of time, at midnight, at noon, at 3 o'clock, or at 4 o'clock, at 10 or 30, at 9 and 15. We usually use in when you're referring to either a general period of time or in the amount of time leading up to something, like in the morning, in the evening, in 5 minutes, in 6 days, in 4 months. My example. Can you meet me at soon? Could you please meet me at noon? I know that's in 30 minutes, but I hope you can make it. So the party is just in 10 days and it's starting at 7 o'clock. And a final mistake that I often spread among my students is a final one, and it's number 5. And when we use talk with or talk to, I noticed the negative tendency that many English learners feel stressed about which one to use and when to use which of them. This is kind of a trick question, just because these words can be actually used interchangeably with really no difference in daily conversation. I'm talking to my friend, or I'm talking with my friend. I'm talking to my sister, or I'm talking with my sister. There is no any huge difference between them. So that, and Bob's your uncle, and there you have it. That's everything that I just wanted to tell you today. That's everything that I just want to talk to you or talk with you today, as far as all we know it after today's video. And if you enjoyed my lesson, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you soon next time. See you in there.